Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Tracy Show. I am Tracy. I am glad that you have joined me. As you can see right now, I am solo. Um, that may change, but I am going to um, make necessary adjustments. Before I start, I definitely want to invite everybody that has not to subscribe. I'm literally at 146, which means I lost a subscriber because last week I had 147. Um, excuse me. I'm gonna get some water here. Sorry. Subscribe. Subscribe literally costs nothing. It's $0 to subscribe to this channel, and you'll want to hit the notification button to know when I am going live. I have, let's see, today's the 7th, so I have another show planned the 14th, then the 21st, then the 28th, and then I'm going to be on break the first week of January, which is my birthday. I'm turning fabulous 50. Yes, I'm taking that whole week off, so you won't see me till like the second week in January. So remember to subscribe so that you can get notified of when I actually go live. Um, I need support, and I have actually. I'm trying to see is my guest coming on today, so I'm looking at my phone. So sorry about this, but I have to just to make sure. No, don't see her yet. Um, I need your support. So, like I was about to say, I lost a supporter. So I'm just down to 4 supporters. So if you can do a one-time donation, or you can do a monthly support, which starts as low as $2. It's at it's at buymeacoffee.com/TRACYMedia LLC at gmail.com. So if our guest isn't going to be here, one, I'm going to have to go back and change that title. But I want to talk about last night's show. Last night, I attempted to watch the entire Republican debate. I don't think I've made it through to watch an entire debate yet. So I might go back and offer opinions, like watch it like in full later, and then do something on Saturday with my Saturday show that I don't go live with. But no, not tacos. Ha ha ha. I ate before I got here, so we're not gonna see tacos. But it was a really strange. I'll say it this way: the 4 people that debated last night have to be the 4 stupidest people I have ever seen. If you if you are running against someone that has a huge lead like Trump has, what the 4 of you should do is like meet with each other and say, "Hey, look, we know who the one that we have to take down. I'm not going to say anything bad about you. You're not going to say anything bad about me. All of our criticism is going to be against Trump, Trump, Trump. Why isn't he showing? He's scared. Look at him running. His record was terrible." Nope. You had 3 people scared to say anything negative about Trump. And I'm like, I don't think any of them really want to be president. I don't even think Chris Christie wants to be president at this moment. I think they all know that Trump is going to win the nomination. And so it's become apparent to me that they don't want to win. Because if they wanted to win, like I said, they would meet separately. They would say, "Hey, look, this is what we're going to do. You're not going to talk about me. I'm not going to talk about you. We're just going to talk about how terrible Trump is and how he let the power slip through his fingers. Sure, you may not win the nomination, but with certain states not having primaries on the Democrat side, you could get them to vote for you. So you never know. Um, it's either the only thing I can figure is they either want a vice president position or a cabinet position. I don't think Ramaswamy is in it for either. I think he wants a podcast. He wants publicity. I don't take him seriously at all. He's not going to drop out the race because he has enough money to self fund his campaign. But they have to want something, and it can't be president because they're not serious. Another thing I had. Oh, I see some comments. Hold on a second here. The four of them are going to vote for Trump. Remember, no, Christie said he would not vote for Trump, that he should be in prison. So three of them said that they were going to vote for Trump. They want cabinet position. They want something because president is not what it is that they want. It can't be because they aren't even. They aren't even. Let's see. This is the fourth debate Trump hasn't shown up at. They don't even think to point that out. It's like he doesn't think enough of the Republican voters to show up. I mean, throw something against the wall. I'm not saying it'll work. I'm not saying he won't get the nomination. He probably will. But they're just sitting there like, yep, okay, let's just sit here and see how it goes. Another thing that really bothered me, Ramaswamy wants to be ambassador to India. I don't know if he wants a government position. I think he just wants publicity. Personally, that's what I think. But another thing that bothered me about last night's debate was, did they answer the questions that the reporters were asking? Or was it just me sitting there thinking, are they not going to answer questions? I mean, there was one specific question. Oh, hi, Jesse. My guest isn't here, but I hope you stick around. I don't. The only one that sort of answered questions was Chris Christie. If you listen to the question, really only answered like two. Do you support government prohibiting? I don't want to call them beta blockers. I don't want to call them beta blockers, but the hormone that's given to people who want to transition from one gender to another, giving it to people under 18. I don't know how they turned every answer into China. Like, what has China actually done to us? Like, is China sitting around just thinking, we got them now? We're going to sit here and we're going to talk about nothing and we're just going to get the US and that's our goal and that's what we're going to do. We're going to get in there and get the terrorists. The other thing I found interesting is they never talked about what they want to do for Republican voters. They basically talked about who they want to attack and why they want to attack them. They didn't talk about the economy. Well, they talked about the economy, but in stupid ways. They talked about drilling oil, which isn't going to help lower gas prices because the oil companies literally could take that oil and sell it to foreign companies. Cutting government red tape is not going to create jobs. They talked about these things. They talked about it in such simple terms that it just didn't make sense what they were saying. They were talking about restricting college children or college adults, they're young adults, and expressing their rights. It was sad. It was sad. 1 in 4 is lying about. I don't think that Christie is going to. Okay, I didn't say China didn't. Well, oh, wait a minute. I think our guest is coming on. So we're going to pick up this conversation on the next episode. So, are you there?
I'm there. Can you hear me?
Yes, but I can barely see you.
Yeah, say I'm coming from my basketball practice with my rec league, so I'm going to record this one in the car.
Ah, okay. So everybody, our guest did join us today. So like I said, I'm going to continue my discussion on the RNC debate and down goes the Democratic Party. I'll do that on a separate video Saturday. Won't be live, but I'll pre-record it. So switching gears because that's what I do best. I'm going to let my guest introduce herself.
Awesome. Yes, thank you so much, Miss Tracy Carson, for having me on your show tonight. My name is Constance Every. I am an activist based out of Knoxville, Tennessee. This is my hometown. I'm born and raised from here. I've been on the front lines of doing community service work, activism, advocacy, lobbying, ran for political office for governor and for the mayor of my hometown city, Knoxville, as well as I've supported many political candidates of the past with endorsement. I founded two nonprofits, Sleeves for Needs, a 501c3 social service, and Black Coffee Just, a 501c4 social justice organization. And I am continuing to do the work. Even though I didn't win my races, I'm still on ground, boots on ground, putting a lot of work in the neighborhoods, communities. Like I said, I apologize for poor quality video tonight, but I am literally leaving a rec league basketball practice for our 12 and under team. We play Saturday, so we needed this work, and I was like, I'm making both work. I'm going to practice, and I'm going to attend my interview with Miss Tracy Carson because that's my girl, and I love to talk with her and chat with her audience. Thank you so much for having me tonight.
You could drop the Miss and the Carson because I just mentioned that I won't be around the first week of January because I'm turning, I can't even say it, I'm turning 50.
Okay.
And one, I can't believe that 50 years just kind of flew by. And
Mm.
second, that mess, I'm like, oh no. Now I see what older people mean. I'm like, oh no. So Tracy is just perfectly fine.
All right. Okay. Okay, Tracy. My bad, Tracy.
So the last time we talked, you were you were giving a not a concession speech because you didn't say you would cooperate with the governor, but you were saying I'm running again, and I thought,
Right.
well, good, good,
Right.
just what they get. What is it that changed that said to you, you know what, I need to run for a local office?
Yeah. You like you said, we need critical changes. The points of the reason why I ran for the governor and the mayor seat is because these are the executive branch power seats. Most of the legislation policy in our state constitution, as well as even our city charter, gives a lot of autonomous power to the executive branch seats. And when you're talking about trying to bring rapid, immediate changes to the demographics of your neighborhoods that look like you, live like you, exist, and even move like you find yourself looking for those opportunities where those races come, where you can get those particular seats, and more importantly, make the impactful changes. Particularly, when we're talking about the budget. We're talking about how we do our committees, such as our housing committees, our development committees, even our police oversight committees. These are some of the spaces where the governor or the mayor has real strongholdship to. And so when I lost the governor race, I was like, yes, I'm gonna run again. But then it was like also about keeping your name relevant. When you go underground like that for a couple of years or so, true, you don't stop doing the groundwork or the grassroots outreach and campaigning that way. But then your name kind of becomes unfamiliar for whatever reason, because if you're not actively in the press or in the public eye, people forget about you. And so when you come back around, it's like, oh yeah, I remember that person. Or by the time the race comes and goes, people are like, oh my God, I didn't even know you was even running. And so our mayor here in Knoxville is very weak. She is not strong at any type of administrative policy so far through her campaign. We knew that we could really harp on her about some of the faults and failures that she had in her administration, as well as highlight some of the problematic people, such as the wealth guard and the elder guard, and some of those folks who keep her and people like her in power because they're puppets, not as much as they are actual administrative leadership. And so we talked about it amongst our Black Coffee Justice Circle. We decided that we need someone to run against this mayor because of the weakness of herself herself and her administration hold during her first tenure as our mayor for the last 4 years. And we decided I would be the best person to raise those awareness and issues and obviously advocate on her quality of character as a leadership. And so we ran for the mayorship. We did not win that race either, but we did able to bring a lot of problems to the surface, and it has unfortunately led to a lot more turmoil in the city, but at the same time, more awareness. More people seem to be better paying attention. More people seem to be aware of the fact that it is our mayor, because the way the chart is written, she has autonomous control, so it's not even really the city council committee body itself, as much as it's the mayor and the policies that she is administrating and passing. And so more people seem to be more focused into what's happening in our communities. And we might have a really strong call for a recall vote, actually, in a year when she becomes eligible next year at the end of December 24 next year.
So I don't know why I'm coughing so bad. So I'm trying to get all this straight. Cause that was tad fast, but I'm gonna get it all straight just so I can bring myself up to knowledge. So you didn't run for governor, you ran for mayor. When did the election for mayor take place?
So the mayor election was last year. So what is it, 23? So it was 2020. What was it, 2022? I may have announced in that May 2022 that I was going to run for mayor. The election was not until August 2023, so we just had the actual election in August.
Okay.
And we had to be ballot qualified, I believe, by February. It was February 23 that the ballot qualifications window came and expired. So only 4 candidates in Knoxville qualified for the ballot, and I was one of the 4 candidates.
Now, is it because I forget how Tennessee works? Do you all just pay like a fee to get on the ballot, or do you actually collect signatures?
Yeah, we petition for the ballot. In Tennessee, you have to petition for any race, but the kicker is that for any race, including the governor, you only need 25 signatures to qualify.
Did you say 25?
25, yep.
Because I think in Indianapolis, you need like 10,000 or something like that. Yeah. How many people does Knoxville have?
As far as countywide, we're almost at 500,000. As far as citywide, we're almost at 300,000.
25 signatures.
25 signatures is the requirement of the state of Tennessee.
They don't want democracy in our state. Oh my gosh. I'm sitting here like, wait a minute. 25. Basically,
yeah, anybody qualified, literally.
Literally. Not to say you weren't qualified, but I'm like, well, anybody, as long as you meet the age requirement, the citizen requirement, and you got 25 signatures, that's your family. That's literally your family. Oh my goodness. So what issues were you, I think I know the answer to this question, but I'll ask it anyway. What issues were you running on?
Yeah, so obviously my platform is always based around the people, and so we obviously are heavily advocating for the black issues and the black struggle concerns, but as well as the poverty concerns. And some of those primary ones was housing. Knoxville is in an extreme housing crisis as we speak right now. Our homeless population has tripled in just the last couple of years since COVID to now. As well as the fact we are dealing with a crisis of our native Knoxville community being completely priced out by out-of-towners. And as well as the simple fact the affordable housing market in general has dissipated, or obsolete is really the appropriate word to use at this point. Working class people are not able to afford housing, even the lowest income housing. We have a lot of slumlording because there's very weak tenant rights in the state in general. And unfortunately, this has led to a lot of loopholes and a lot of price gouging of landlords without any real accountability to their infrastructures, even to the way that they're conducting their businesses of collecting their rents and those type of things around privacy and the concerns we see in a state like Tennessee, where tenant rights and unfortunately landlord rights are the stronger policy, not the tenant rights and the people who are actually needing this housing and using this housing for their necessary of livelihood. And so we have a real working class homeless population in Knoxville right now. And so that was one of our biggest key pieces. We ran heavily on affordable housing and particularly the ideas and concepts of how we could truly create affordable housing, such as community land trust, as far as like when our HUD properties maturate, instead of selling those properties off to private developers, we could actually reapply for the HUD funding to continue to offer that HUD affordable housing and under the HUD affordable standards of the good community quality standards that HUD also has in play for administrations and cities and counties that are receiving those type of funds. And then, another one we ran heavily on was public transportation. We are cutting a vital role of our public transportation, which is our trolley line. And we have 4 trolleys currently serving the downtown and the South Knoxville Riverfront area, and certain parts of either the northeast and central parts of the city.
Okay. You're on mute. You are on mute. You're still on mute.
Sorry about that. Here we go. Sorry, power went out on the truck. We can't turn the keys on. But yeah, um, so yeah, we ran vital trolley line service. One of the key things about the trolley line is why it was such a piece of our platform that we fought for, because that trolley line also serves a elderly disabled apartment complex where elderly members are living there due to, again, affordable housing and where they can afford to live, as well as with certain quality standards of living that are strictly about accessibility, meaning the apartments are designed for accessible members, disabled members, things of that nature. And the trolley is one of their only true forms of public transportation to get off the hill of the establishment, as well as get connected to the primary bus line so they can go to their grocery shopping, they can go to their doctor's appointments and things of those type of necessities. And so we really fought heavily for the public transportation system because instead of cutting bus lines, if anything, we should be looking to how we can expand bus lines. In Knoxville, our public transportation is so poor that if you catch a bus and you work a job, you have to catch the bus 2 hours in advance to make sure you get to work on time. And I just think that there's a better way that we can be more efficient than 2 hours in advance for work for someone who works maybe a night shift or even a very early morning shift. And then the last piece we really ran heavily on was the food and medical deserts. We have true communities. We closed a hospital in Knoxville to create a cop city. We closed another hospital in Knoxville to create luxury condos. The East Knoxville, Northeast Knoxville area, which is a predominant black community, has never had a public hospital or clinic of any availability for over 20 plus years now. When they closed, the only one we had of the health department many years ago, and I was a kid when they did that, and I'm 38. And so we have to talk about that, as well as the fact that most of the rest of the city in the north and the east, I'm sorry, the north, the south, and the western parts of the city have been well developed. Grocery stores are almost less than 5 to 10 minute distance from most of the residential areas. However, again, in the northeast area where the predominant black community exists, we do not have a fresh food grocery store. We do not have a actual fresh fruit grocery store. The closest fresh food grocery store is about 20 to 25 minutes actually from the residents who live in those communities. And again, this is a poor working class income community.
Yeah.
These people have access to transportation efficiently as others. And we want to start getting into what we call smart infrastructure cities, where we are creating fresh food grocery stores, we're creating the medical facilities less than 5 to 10 minutes walks from someone's front door versus 5 to 10 minute bus rides or even car rides to access these such services and other needs. So those are our primary three pillars, as well as other things: police brutality, you name it, the budget, how we're spending money, the better can spend towards our HR departments and our policing and other things that we see far too often been bloated by the budget and overriding the concerns of human resource needs of our city and the taxpaying constituents.
Yep. Now you just talked about. Let me ask you this question because I'm setting this up for a reason. Is the current mayor of Knoxville Democrat or Republican?
Oh, she's a Democrat. Terrible, terrible
Okay.
Democrat.
Yep. Yeah. I'm going to set this up. So you mentioned something about Cop City, and I have made the point of Cop Cities. It's just not in Georgia, which is the point I kept telling everybody. Cop City is just not in Atlanta, Georgia, or the surrounding area. They are spreading across this country like lightning fire. And the thing that always trips me out is it's Democratic mayors that are doing this. It's not Republicans. It's not, oh, well, and someone said, oh, well, they get their money from the state. But doesn't the city determine how it's spent? And so sometimes you have to ignore things, but it amazes me that people still want to vote Democrat or Republican. But in this case, I'm making a point about the Democrats. How? I don't, I try to understand, and I'm literally like, they're working against your best interests. Why are you voting for them?
Yeah, I mean, I tell you all the time, as someone who lives in Knoxville, Tennessee, which is a Republican dominant state legislator, but the Knoxville area is supposed to be a Democratic city, what's the difference? And I tell them all the time, nothing. I live in a Democratic city and a Republican state, and they're exactly the same people. They're the same politicians, same policy, same everything across the board. There might be a few small minor things where white liberals have more influence, obviously, in some of the Democratic policy shift, and obviously white conservatives have more say so in the Republican policies and constituency. But overall, when it comes right down to being poor, being black, being elderly, being disabled, being a woman, those type of things, the marginalized communities and oppressed demographics, the policy effectiveness and impact is literally exactly the same, no matter if it's red or blue on the name or the title.
And another thing I want to talk about, and I don't know whether it goes on, I'm pretty sure it does, because if you have a large black population, um, it tends to happen. When you ran, I'm pretty sure you heard, or people who support you heard, a vote for Constance is a vote for the Republicans. I'm pretty sure you heard, but you may not have. I may be totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about this one.
Yeah, I would say there was definitely a lot of that. I did have a lot of Republican supporters that were going to vote for me. Absolutely, I'm sure some did. But they were so afraid of me. I guess this is the historical issue of being a black candidate in general, and the two parties just don't want the black candidate to win at all. And so what they did was the Democrats obviously had Indy Kincannon, the current mayor. They brought in a Jeff Tallman on the Republican side so that I would not pull the Republican vote. They gave the Republican to vote for instead. And this is the establishment. The wealthy establishment really organized the campaign against how to beat me for the mayorship because I ran a very strong platform on the people and the issues, and I did very well at debates against all of the candidates. Where they beat me out at was, like you said, the grapevine messaging, the political money in the media, those type of things with the radio ads and the billboards, things like that. That's how they beat me out. Because when it came to actual voice messaging, really speaking as a candidate for myself, there was no competition to those type of events, and so they used their money.
I I'm going to take a step backwards. You were allowed at the debates.
Yes, we only had 3. That's the kicker. We only had 3 debates. That's it.
Wait a minute. You were allowed at the debates, and they had more than one.
Yeah, they had 3, and I destroyed them in all 3. They did not beat me in a single debate, not once.
Oh, wow. What's wrong with my city? What's wrong with my city? If you haven't been watching this channel, I don't know if you watch my shows. Hopefully you do. But I had been teetering around with a city council run, and I just decided no, because I can't see putting myself through that. But here's the thing that I want to encourage you and everybody else that's thinking about it. When you run, you're going to get opposition from the two-party system. They're scared, literally scared, and they will do anything possible. I mean anything. I literally mean anything to stop your campaign. And I didn't realize how low it went until I supported a presidential candidate. And I'm like, y'all just sitting, y'all know y'all lying. That's why I'm like, you were at the debates? They let you in? Somebody wanted to know what percentage of Knoxville is black.
So I'll give you a couple of data here because you need to see the full scale of data to really understand how this election really went down. So Knoxville is 11% black out of the 500,000 countywide base, and so that's the data. We're 11% black, period. And so the other piece is that out of the 500,000 voters, we have a little over 300,000 registered voters. How many voters do you think participated in the mayor race? How many do you think we had participated?
I'm gonna say less than 20,000.
You're correct. We had 16,000 voters participate in the mayor race, so that was less than 8%.
Because presidential turnout, turnouts tend to be higher when the president is on the ballot. Right. I don't know why. It should be actually the reverse because we actually don't elect presidents. But for some reason, when it's like one of those off years, election turnout is very low. That's why it's like, it has to be less than 20. I would have been surprised if you had said 50. I'm like, that many people?
But here, listen to this data. There's more data. So that was Knoxville. Now here's the kicker. 3 of the 4 major cities of Tennessee had the mayor race. Knoxville did, Nashville Capital did, and Memphis did. We all 3 this year had our mayor city races this year. Now Knoxville had a little under 300,000 voters registered to vote, and we had less than an 8% turnout. Now in Nashville, They had, I think Nashville, they're almost up to a million countywide. I think they had roughly a little over half a million registered voters, and they had around 200,000 of their citizens actually participate in their mayor race. Memphis, which is Shelby County, same thing, close to about a million people population wide in the county. Roughly a little under, give or take, half a million registered voters in the city. And same thing for them. They had almost about a 200,000 voter turnout race. And irony, even with the Memphis mayor race, their early vote had roughly um, almost 60,000 people just in the early vote alone. Nashville had almost 100,000 early voters alone. So it's like there's something happening even in Knoxville in general with the vote that when you look at other major cities in the same year that had the same race, they had a far greater turnout than even we did. And same thing, they were under obviously in their total wide voter population presence, but no one pulled under 20,000 like Knoxville did. We were the only one that had under 20,000. The rest of them were a little over 100,000 plus in their
Yeah,
voter turnout.
it unfortunately that's the way it happens. People engage, like I said, in the wrong race. We're so focused on president. That's when the turnout is higher because you get Congress, you get senators, and you get presidents all in one year. So people are more amped to vote. But when they shouldn't stay home is the local elections because that's where the decisions are made. But I'm not going to get into my election lecture. So Stanley disagrees with me in saying the two party isn't scared at all. I say they are, and the reason I say they
Yeah.
are is they legally try to keep. They make the ballot gathering so high. Look what they did in New York City. New York City used to have like maybe 20,000 the whole state to
Yeah.
get on the ballot. Now it's like close
You
to 100,000.
you saw a lot of tactics by the two parties. And I agree. It's two parties, not just one party. It's the two parties. I
Yeah,
think about Mississippi, how they kept running out of ballots in the Mississippi election. That did not make any sense. You knew this was election night. So how does a site run out of ballots? That's ridiculous. Here in Tennessee, again, we're facing our NAACP is actually suing the state of Tennessee over their incarceration rate laws and how they allow voter suppression through the incarceration. And right now, our attorney general of our state is trying to have the case dismissed indirectly by saying that there's no basis or grounds for it. Yet, 1 in 5 African American people in the state of Tennessee cannot vote, and mainly due to incarceration records. So, do not tell me that it's not real when the data is saying it's very real.
yeah, they definitely are scared because if they weren't, um,
They'd be giving us the right to vote. They wouldn't even
they'd
care
be
about it.
like, okay,
They wouldn't
it's
care.
just it's kind of like the Biden thing, and and this is the only time I'll ever talk. Well, no, because I pretty much slam Biden every time I get every chance I get, but the Democratic Party isn't going to have any debates. Period.
Why? That makes sense. That doesn't even
That
make
makes
sense.
sense to me. But this is what they've decided to do. This
Yeah.
is what they've decided to do. Let them do whatever they're gonna do and lose, and then try to blame third party voters, which is what they always do. But
Right. I'm voting
if
for
your record, I think I made this point, and this goes for anybody. If your record is strong and you're
Right.
doing good things, you wouldn't be scared to debate
But the word
anybody.
about anything. Exactly.
You would just be
Exactly.
like, here's the date, here's the time, here's the place, and let's do this. But
I'm ready.
no,
I'm
the
ready.
two
Right.
party system basically, um, Stanley, I still disagree with you. They definitely are scared of third parties. They wouldn't come up with all of those rules
Yeah.
um,
They're scared of
just for
Dr.
no
West.
reason. Literally, they come up with some of the craziest rules. Like they'll shorten the time that you have to gather signatures.
Right.
I don't see the Democrats or Republicans having to gather signatures.
Nope, they don't.
They
But they
they never have to.
do.
I've never
And
heard a Democrat
and
say,
the independent candidate has to raise $1 million just to debate. You have to make a fundraiser minimum to be a part of the debate.
"Yep,
So it's a lot. It is, but I agree. I think that the two party systems are definitely on their last knees. I don't see it lasting in the next 25 years. I'm just being real. I think the young people alone will push that out the door because the way that they're not able to hear our voices, listen to our voices. People are tired of it, the finger pointing, and more importantly, people are just tired of the lack of progress in general. I mean, life is really hard. People are really dying. We're not talking about play death no more. We're talking about literally people dying because they
exactly,
cannot afford that medication, because they are not able to have access to fresh foods, because our water, I mean, my goodness, the American water system is poisonous. Like, I don't care where you at. You should not be probably drinking the water out of your faucets of your home because we're not doing proper cleaning and filtration of our sewer lines and our drainage systems and things of that nature. So it's like, no, America's really hurting, and I think more and more people are tired of having only the option of Democrat and Republican. We need something else. I think, matter of fact, if anything, more people are saying it flat out. We want something else.
Exactly. And I think, like I said, 2024 is going to be a wild year, which is why I hope you run again, because I'm like, I think third time is going to be the charm.
Mm-hmm.
I basically have said, no, it's not going to happen for me because I got two problems. One, my mouth. Um, um, I'm just going to say what I got to say, and you don't got to like it. I don't care who likes it. And
Right.
basically,
Those are the best candidates. Those are the best candidates.
don't know, because I will literally tell somebody, "Hit, you're not gonna tell me who to race." I wouldn't do it as a like I'm active with the Green Party. I wouldn't run as a Green Party candidate.
Yeah.
I wouldn't,
Yeah.
because you're not gonna tell me how much money I can raise. You're not gonna tell me who can endorse. No, no,
Right. That's
no,
what's
no,
true. And that's the
no.
unfortunate part, right? The money has too much control and too much power. And that's again why I think being an independent candidate has always had its greatest advantage. What you're talking about, you're free. You're free. If you lose, you lose because the people just didn't want what was something different. And if you win, obviously you're making history for so many others and so many more. But I'm there. I'm gonna give my little spiel. I'm voting for Dr. West. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but I don't care.
Oh my gosh.
West.
I see now. I didn't want to do this because I do have a podcast called "Congratulations to the 47th President of the United States, Dr. Cornel West," and I'm definitely looking for guests. I
I'm voting for
absolutely.
Dr. West. I just want to say this. His platform speaks for itself. I be on Black Twitter. I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with the Black Twitter world, but Black Twitter's crazy. But my thing is that if you're talking about reparations, he has that flat out written out what it's going to be. If you talk about wages, poverty wages, minimum wages, affordable living wages, he has that on his platform. You talk about the incarceration issues, he has it on his platform. He talks
He
about the
talks.
capitalism, he talks about the monopolies, he talks about it all. I don't understand why anybody in America who's sick of this crap would not vote for Dr. West at this
Wait a
point.
minute. Here's two reasons. I'll give you their dumb reasons. I'm so,
They're
you
dumb.
don't.
Of course they're dumb. There's
You
no reason
know,
not to vote for
you do
him.
not know how glad I am to say that. Hear you say that, because again, I'm looking for
I
guests to appear
fooled.
on
I
my
fooled Dr.
show.
West. I'm voting for Dr. West.
But and I'm like, yeah, look for your invitation to appear because it's coming. I'm telling you
I'm
now.
looking forward to it. Yes.
But it'll be in January. But anyway, the thing you hear, and this is for all independent candidates, not just Dr. West. That's what we're talking about, because Constance says she supports him, and everybody knows I don't always get. This channel's too small to interview Dr. West. I don't think he would come, but
Yeah.
subscribe so I can at least say I got this many subscribers. But that's not what I was getting to. The reason people say that they don't vote for him, the child support thing was just stupid. I'm like, he's got children literally my age.
Irrelevant. That's just them trying to find something to say about him.
I didn't like that one because it was saying a black man can't take care of his children. And
That ain't true. We already know that's not true either. We know that's not
but
true.
that's the narrative, right? That's the narrative.
Yeah. But
And
here's
then
the narrative is it though? Like I really want black people to start elevating. I really want people in general to start elevating. Who's telling the story? That's
we're
one of the
not. That's the problem. We're
that's the
not
problem.
telling our
Right?
own story.
Right. Who's
We're
telling the
not saying,
story?
hey, we take care of our children. Black men
Right.
are more likely to be with the mother of their children than white men. Has
Exactly.
anybody ever said that?
And nobody pays more child support than black fathers. I don't care what nobody say. Black daddies be paying that child support. Yes, they do.
But and the other one was, well, now is not the time. And I keep asking, when is the time? It's
Well,
now. It's
MLK
now.
wrote a whole poem. The Birmingham jail letters. That's one of the most critical lines of the entire Birmingham jail letter that Martin writes. Is that they always want to tell us to wait or now is not the right time. But it's like, who are you to decide when someone else is supposed to be free? Who are you to decide when someone else is supposed to be liberated? Who are you to decide when someone else is supposed to fight for those particular things that they want? Like, who are you to decide that? And that's the truth. You don't get to decide for a group of people who've been oppressed for so many years, for so many centuries, that when you think it's time for us to fight for these things or to run for these offices or go for these types of policies or legislation practices and applications, that it's up to you to decide when it's time for us. No, we decide for ourselves. And whenever we decide to run, that's always going to be the right time, because now is the time, plain and simple.
Exactly. You can't. Listen, when did LBJ sign the Voters' Rights Act? In the 60s, 1960, a couple, like 10 years before.
Yeah.
Right. And they gutted it, but it was signed 10 years before I was born, 1964.
Mm-hmm.
From 1964 till right now, what has the Democratic Party exactly done for black people?
They signed the
And,
93 crime bill. They signed the 93 crime bill. Bill and Joe did that one. That was deal. They both did
no, it
that.
was 94. It was 94 because it was the year after I graduated high school. And I
Okay.
graduated in 93. Yeah, I'm the age
Well,
of
give them
myself
that.
here, yeah. But I graduated in 90. Oh, voters' rights was in 68. So that was 6 years before I was born. So from
Yeah.
1968 to now, only thing they can say is we have a black president who was who I call black when convenient because you
Right.
never hear
He
him.
didn't do what
I'm
he's supposed
like,
to do either. He didn't do what he's supposed to do either. He was a puppet. He was a token. He was one of them. You know, I mean, again, I'm just going to continue to reference ancestors. Malcolm X said two things about this topic. One, that black people being involved in party politics is foolish in itself because neither party protects your interests regardless of the fact. And the second one he said is that always beware of the black faces that they lift up because you know those black faces do not serve your interests. If anything, they are puppets and they serve their interests. So you know, again, our answers have made it very clear to us. We just have to listen. We just have to
oh,
listen and
I'm gonna let you answer this question because Stanley, you tested me today, but that's okay. That
let them.
still
Let's
love you.
ask. What is the
Okay,
question?
so Stanley says you don't understand why West won't get elected. America isn't in favor of equality or the opportunities nor outcomes.
So I would have to ask Stanley what is his economical income status or economical social income status because people like this they speak from normally from a very privileged space. And a person like Dr. West would not serve your interests. A person like Dr. West would threaten your so-called access of equality and opportunities. And so, therefore, the reality is that Stanley, you seem like someone who is what we're talking about. You are threatened by Dr. West being on the ballot because Dr. West represents a change and more importantly, a rising of people who are normally not represented in politics, who are normally not called to the ballot, who are normally not put into the policy of interest that Mr. West was talking about bringing to the table, that are normally represented. And so you seem to be part of that dying on the hill crowd who tries to play the card of, well, if you don't vote for a Democrat, then you're automatically voting for Trump, which is not true. Nobody said that. And vice versa, we're getting it from the conservative side of things. Well, if you vote for Joe Biden, if you vote for Trump, don't vote for Trump, then you're voting for Joe Biden. But the problem is that what you all don't understand is that society is sick of either side. And more importantly, when it comes down to the platform, it is definitely boots on ground. It is all activists, hands on deck. It will take every voice everywhere. I'm not saying it's not any work into this. I'm not saying this is going to come easy. I'm not saying it's going to come freely. That's not true. But what I am saying is that I do know from my own personal experiences, talking in my community right here, just in Knoxville, Tennessee, where we have a 500,000 voter base sitting right here in our hands. And if we can get it across our whole state, that's roughly about 5.5 million voters just in the state of Tennessee that Dr. West could easily have if we can get our poor, disabled, elderly, disenfranchised demographics and communities to understand Dr. West's platform, what he is representing, and what he is doing could easily swing those votes. And I think people are thirsty for that. I really do. I just think people do not want to vote for Joe. And I do believe people do not want to vote for Trump. I do believe people are like, who's somebody that's legit, that can kind of hit us in the middle. And I know that there's no middle ground, but when you look at Dr. West, he's about as middle as he's going to get. And so I think we have real work to do, but we can push the ballot to Dr. West. I don't think that's difficult at all. We need to focus on block voting, black block vote and poor block vote. If we can do that, we can get Dr. West into the office. And people like him are scared. People like Stanley are scared of that. They're very scared of that. They're
Okay, so
petrified.
Stanley disagrees with you, but we're gonna get back to you, Stanley, because he got some comments in the comment section. But I'll get to those. I promise I will. I promise I will. But the last thing I'm gonna say about Dr. West, I don't understand it. I'm like, these are the things we've been saying, or I've been saying
Mm-hmm.
reparations for at least 15
Mm-hmm.
years. When I
Mm-hmm.
first learned what they were, I'm like, yes, this makes sense. Oh, and let
Yeah.
me rephrase this. When I say reparations, I'm talking about the descendants of African slaves. I'm not talking about everybody else.
Don't worry. Yeah. Don't worry about the
No,
FBA crazy and all that.
because some people, like our president, because he holds the title president, wants to throw in every other. No,
No.
this party, the Democrats, had a black president and
Yeah.
couldn't get a crime bill. Excuse
Good
me?
crime bill.
No, they got a crime bill. I'm sorry, an anti black hate bill.
We
still don't have one.
We don't have one.
I'm like, wait a minute. So you're going to get the Asian crime bill, and I'm
They
not.
got the Asian crime bill, $50 million, all of that. I'm like, man.
I don't want anybody that's Asian to think I'm speaking against them. Absolutely. Nobody's for Asian hate. It's stupid. It's silly.
Yeah.
But you're going to tell me this party that supports you at 80%, 80% of black voters vote 80. Democrat. You couldn't get voters' rights done, and you couldn't get voters' rights done. That's it for me.
Couldn't get the Breonna Taylor George Floyd law passed. Couldn't do anything. Literally did nothing for us. Did nothing for us.
I'm just like, huh? What?
Huh? But then dig on the Breakfast Club and tell Charlamagne and them
Charlamagne,
that, that if we don't vote for him, we're not black. He did do that.
I'm not black. I am not black. I keep telling people I'm not black because Joe Biden said, well, he meant he got too familiar. Stop.
He said what he said.
But he said something worse. But he said something worse than that. And I keep bringing this up. And Tim Black, I'm glad Tim Black pointed this out. When he was in the campaign trail way back when he was running for vice president, he said, if you vote Republican, they'll have you in chains. He said this to a black audience. And I'm like, y'all gonna let him just say that? Y'all gonna just sit there and not do nothing? Y'all just gonna let him say that?
Yeah.
It's our fault. Not our fault. But we have to.
It is our fault. We have tolerated the design of the elders is a failed model. They played this get along, play along game, and all it did was create tokenism and really more division and more adversity in our own communities because it allowed white folks to come in with their money and hand select who what they call quote unquote the good Negro is. And reward the good Negro because the good Negro does what his white master tells him to do for the money versus black people like us who speak out and say, no, your money is not the value here. The money is irrelevant actually here because the truth be told, your money is a win for individual. It is not a victory for the collective overall movement nor for the majority of our people.
Right, exactly.
So that's the problem. That is the problem.
I'm going to answer this question. I'm not even going to let Constance answer it. I'm just going to answer this one. I expected him to do what he said. Hey, call me stupid. Simple. Just call me real dumb. Call me naive. Call me whatever. But when you say that you're for codifying Roe v. Wade, and then when you get into there, it's not a priority. Expect me to have a problem. Expect me to have a problem when you leave.
Priority.
And I'll say this, and I've never lifted down. I called Obama the worst president of my lifetime. I stand on it. I stand on it.
Joe's going to beat him. I think Joe's actually going to beat him. I do believe
he might, but I don't like. Here's the thing with Obama. If you leave potential on the table, say what you will about Obama. He had potential.
No, he could have done fine.
He could have done a lot, and he just chose not to. And that's what infuriates me.
Yeah.
Joe, he'd have been in the Senate and government my entire life. He didn't do anything back then. He's not going to do anything back now.
No, he's not. He's useless at this point. You know, you said about Obama missing opportunity. I think somebody else who missed opportunity. Bob Johnson and BET. I say this all the time. Like, if Bob Johnson really understood what he had when he created BET, I was like, we could have been a one-stop shop media network for the entire global Black liberation movement. We could have like whatever their CNN was, we could have CNN, we could have MSNBC, we could have had it all right there at BET. And he missed a golden opportunity to create a international media-based broadcasting network for all of us collectively as Black people globally to be able to communicate, to get our news, to get our information from each other without the middle and third and fourth and fifth party storylines coming in. And instead of creating something that could have really helped Black media go to the next level, he instead sold it. And look at what we get on BET today. A bunch of degenerate, ratchet nonsense, programming our children to think that this is the way that we're supposed to behave, when truth be told, this is how they're programming us to quote-unquote behave.
But see, ratchet, I'm not going to say I watch it because now I'm going to sound stupid. But see, what had happened was, it was just right. But I get what you're saying. But in terms of getting people, because I think this conversation is kind of moved and that's okay, to get people involved, you can the problem I'm running into is you can literally tell them, hey, there's a homelessness is increasing.
Mhm.
We need to move for um, affordable housing. Well, not in my neighborhood.
Yeah, not in
Well,
my backyard, folks. The Nibby
well,
folks. Yeah.
why would you not want it in your neighborhood? They have to live somewhere. Shelter,
It's
at least in Indianapolis, shelters are really they're overcrowded.
yeah. We're full. We're full,
Um,
folks.
you can
Yeah.
only stay a couple of nights, and then
Yeah.
you're back on the streets.
Yeah.
There's no families can't stay together.
Right.
And that men in one shelter, women in another, women and
Right.
children in another. So
Right.
families are now separated. And I think that's one of the reasons I wanted to get in the race. But then you realize the money that comes from corporate, it's like,
Yeah.
how do you go about, and this is my question, how do you even as an independent candidate go about beating that? Because it seems like you need people who believe in the message, but how can you get people to believe in the message if they don't know about you? If my question is making any type of sense.
No, it's grassroots effort. I take the governor race as a good example of grassroots effort. We had 95 counties. I had votes in all 95 counties. Actually, we did a whole. Actually, my guy who's part of the Republican Party, he actually ran my data for me on my governor race, and the data came back and said run again. Actually, the data said you run again based off of the data, because he told me that one, I pulled votes in all 95 counties. Out of 95, 18 of those counties I could have actually won. Well, if you win 18 counties in the governor race, guess what you did? You won the race at that point. You literally have won the race if you can win 18 counties in the state of Tennessee. And as well as the fact in certain parts of the four bigger areas, the Knoxville, Nashville, Memphis, and Chattanooga area, I pulled roughly 76% of that vote amongst all four of the candidates. I pulled most of that vote from those areas compared to the rest of the four candidates on the ballot along with me. Where they beat me at was in those smaller rural counties where it's only 15,000 population, but somebody is the great 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 grand cousin of the governor's second cousin's mama side of the family, and so he's pulling that whole county by himself. And so it was some of those type of data that where we saw some things where it was like, no, if and it was grassroots effort, right? Like we didn't have the money, we didn't have the billboards, we bought yard signs, we bought T-shirts, we bought buttons, we bought bumper stickers, the basic campaign stuff. But what we really did was strategically move from East Tennessee to West Tennessee, visiting all of the lower income neighborhoods. That's what we targeted. We didn't go to the big wealthy neighborhoods or any of that. We went to the small, rural areas, poor public housing, agriculture neighborhoods, USDA properties, or public housing properties in the city limits and county limit jurisdictions. And we also targeted the unions. We went to a lot of union halls and met with a lot of union folks as well around the state. And that's how we got out. If I had more time, my mistake is now, if I had to do it differently, I would have got out earlier. Because I think if I would have ran 2 years in advance doing the same strategy, we would have won that race very easily because we would have been
Yeah,
able
now
to
there
out
was
everybody.
you just got to my next question because the mayor's race in Knoxville is already over.
Right.
So I met you what last year?
Yeah, last year. Last
Last
year.
year. So
Yeah.
that means that the governor's race is coming up.
Right. We're about 2 years out now. Right now
You're
we're about
about 2 years out now. So
yeah.
ideally, if you were to run, wouldn't now be a good time to? Wouldn't this show be a great time to announce your candidacy for governor?
Yes, I think I'm going to make a hard decision though in 90 days. I think that by March 1st, I will make the official announcement. And I say that because we are gearing up for lobbying. I did convert over to lobbying in between the mayor race and the Tennessee governor race. I did actually go into lobbying just because getting on the Hill, seeing state policy in effect, being a part of the conversations, really actually even writing policy. We do that in my organization. Just getting really familiar with state politics and what that looks like. I moved into the lobbying realm, and I actually have recruited 9 new lobbyists. So Black Coffee Justice will be going from 1 lobbyist last year to 10 lobbyists in just our second year turnaround. And so I have to bring in a whole new crew, kind of really get their feet wet and up and running. We've been blessed. We have been able to partnership with some of the folks in Chattanooga. We have a powerhouse by the name of Mont Marie Hill, amazing young woman who has many years of background in policy, worked in Harvard Law, all kinds of type of things. Very educated sister who's leading the policy department in the policy writing department for our organization Speak. We will be rolling out 4 new policies. We'll be bringing in a doula care, Black doula maternal health care policy. because Tennessee is the eighth highest state in Black maternal health mortality rate. So unfortunately, Black women are dying here giving babies, and that's not okay. And that's a problem in America in general. So we can lead a charge on that. We will also be writing policy on food agricultural. We're going to focus on community land trusting as well as what is it called? Land foodscaping, where we're using residential neighborhoods and gardening spaces is in community neighborhoods as a way that we can also offer direct fresh food accessibility. And then the last policy that we'll be working on is police brutality. It is out of control in the state of Tennessee. We are having a lot of brutalities happen here. Of course, everybody knows about Trace Nichols and the situation that happened in Memphis with those officers, but it has been a continuum. In Chattanooga, we had 2 Black men killed, 2 unarmed Black kids killed, and another Latino Hispanic kid was killed in a Black high school in Chattanooga. Of course, we had Anthony Thompson Jr. happen here in Knoxville, but we also have had instance where 2 cops beat up a Black man, a Starbucks manager employee. Later, wrote up a bunch of lies. State representatives had to step in and ask for the tape to be released. End up dropping the charges once the state rep started calling for the tape to be released. So we'll find out how that's going to play out. We recently had a report drop on the Pacifico, I believe is who the national media article was, but reported that our juvenile detention center director, superintendent Richard Bean, was bragging in this article about child abuse and neglect, and even went farther to brag how he's made millions of dollars off of his institution and facility doing what he does. So now they're under actual federal investigation as we speak right now. And then we had recently a cop been charged by the Virginia district attorney along with the federal government, our FBI. A cop was charged with child predatory and rape. We had a police officer out here committing child predation and rape to some young folks. And so we are continuing to deal with some very disturbing information coming through our city and our state. And so therefore, I have to go to the Hill with my 10 lobbyists. And so we're writing those 3 policies through: the Black maternal health, the food agricultural and food disparity in land agricultural, and the police brutality and ending police immunity in the state of Tennessee.
It would be better if it was nationwide, but hey, I'm just out here wishing.
We need to, but hey, I gotta get people that's willing to do
No,
the
you
work.
got you're right. I'm just
we gotta start where we at, and then we
I'll open the conversation. They'll put you.
Yeah, we can bring some of the other lobbyists on to talk about some of that work as we move into next year. That'd be really dope. I think it'd be good to hear from some of the fellow lobbyists about what that looks like on the state of Tennessee, because we still got bigger fish to fry, right? We still got the justices in their situation. We still have the no gun control laws or good gun common sense control laws. We're still having that issue. We're dealing with the funding. I don't know if y'all saw this. Tennessee is talking about rejecting the federal aid for education. We're talking about billions of dollars they want to reject for education because that's how folks they are on trying to privatize public education in our state. And again, we know that this will adversely affect and discriminate against Black and brown minority school districts and school students. We already know who's going to take the greatest blow in the blow when you don't take in those federal dollars for education. So those fish are already on the Hill as we speak, additionally to what we're going to bring to the Hill right along with it. So it will be a smoking Tennessee state legislator coming up in 2024.
That's right, because you live that's right. I keep forgetting about the 2, and I know their names.
Yeah, I just said it. The justices down here in Tennessee. Yes, we are dealing with that smoke.
No. I'm talking about the 2 Congress people that got kicked out and they had to put them back in.
Yeah, Justin Jones and Justin Pearson.
Oh yeah, that's who you were. I'm like, who is she talking about? Who is she?
Yes. That's what I said. We a hot state right now. We're on the map right now. We're a hot state. Yeah, big things coming down next year. Yeah.
But like I said, there's United States Senate, because Tennessee has 2 Republican senators, like Indiana
we got
does.
Marsha Blackburn. You're right. Marsha Blackburn is up on the table. Gloria Johnson, who is a part of the Tennessee 3 cause, she will be running for that Senate seat against her. But again, here's another example of the 2-party ticket candidates being both problematic. Gloria Johnson is from my hometown of Knoxville, Tennessee, and I'm going to keep it real. She has not done a damn thing for the Black people or the poor people here in this community. So we won't be voting for her. That's the crazy part. She will not get a lot of vote out of her own city.
Yeah, you have a lot of options. You definitely have a lot of options. And, you can always count on me for not a whole lot of financial support because I just bought a house, so.
Yo, congratulations!
Thank
I'm trying to get there. Yeah.
Them interest rate, child, they're gonna kill you. They're gonna kill you. They're gonna get you. Wait, tell you just wait. Everybody wait. But
Tell
I wanted,
Stanley that he needs to read some Dr. John Henry Clark, some Dr. Amos Wilson, some Dr. Not Doctor, sorry, Walter Rodney, some Faison Faison. I mean, my goodness, he can even listen to James Baldwin. Jay Baldwin does a great job at running it down constantly
yeah,
on what's wrong with America. Like, sir, you might want to educate yourself up a little bit and read you some books. Read you some books.
I think I, I try to understand because I was done with the Democratic Party when they screwed over Bernie. So I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I can't. I'm not going back. I don't care. No, 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 no. But I think people are scared, and I don't know why.
Oh,
Um,
I'm going to give everybody a reading. Here's a good reading for everybody. W. Du Bois, it is called I Will Not Vote. I Won't Vote. That's what it's called. W. Du Bois, I Won't Vote. Very, very powerful essay, wrote in the 1954-56 election cycle. Very interesting. What he speaks on in that in that essay is very applicable to today. And he's talking about what we're talking about right now. The parties and the presidents and all of that stuff just comes up short time and time again. And you already brought it up earlier about how you be like, oh yeah, I'm going to support this person because they said it and I believe it, and they do it. They do it again. They let us down every single time. So
that's
I would
what.
say,
Yeah,
read that.
That's what I wanted to discuss. So if that happens every time, we're just gonna play a game of pretend right now. You just and you pull up the. Don't look like. um, you pull off the biggest upset in the state's history and you win.
Mm-hmm.
How do I know as a Tennessean, yeah,
Tennessee.
Tennessean, that you won't be like the rest of them?
You'll know that from the campaign in itself. I don't campaign like any of them. I don't talk or speak like any of them. I don't act or even move like any of them. As well as the fact, you would know also by the immediate resignations that I would hand out to several of the cabinet staff and administrative officials, because my thing is that we need to change not just how our leadership in the primary roles of executives in those seats as far as the legislative body, we need to change the administration surrounding those people at the same time, because at this point, if you have went along with this type of conduct and criminality of policy, then I will have to question you as well as being a part of this administration and the one that we're moving forward with my campaign and my formalities. You cannot be a part of this because we can't keep doing the same thing, and we're not going to accept shortcoming answers or excuses. Whatever you've been able to use in the past is why you're not doing your job will no longer be applicable moving forward. And then the last piece is I will have to bring in immediate federal investigation. I just feel like when I'm about to take something over, we need a forensic audit of the budget to figure out who's been doing what for how much years and what they've been doing with that money. We need to identify folks who have been willingly signing off or putting stamps of signatures on policies and legislations and bills or whatever else you can think of without proper recommendation or even approval. We really have to clean the house out completely. And I think that would be one of the first things that you would see to know that I am different is, like I said, not just our campaign, but in general, my first 100 days in office, I will be doing a major clean down. And that means people getting laid off, people getting their golden parachutes. And unfortunately, it will lead to some terminations and even probably some charges being filed, depending on the nature of your involvement in certain conflicts or certain investigation leadings that show the reports of how we got to where we're at, and especially as I said before about the money. It's the money for me. I'm always going to chase the money down, and that's how you're going to know the difference.
Now, Jesse wants to know what office are you running for? I think we answered this question because you're kind of in between. No, I'm not going to speak for you. You do
No,
it.
no. Yeah, the mayor race is over. So the next race, if I am going to run, it will be Governor of Tennessee 2026. This will be my second time running for the governor race in Tennessee. And it's historical because the last black person to make the governor ballot for governor of Tennessee was William Yardley, and that was in the 1800s. And I just did it in 2022. So that's so far a black man and a black woman has made the ballot for the state of Tennessee's governor race, and
And
that's
yeah, and now we need is a black governor.
yeah, and now we need a black governor and we need a black woman governor because so far neither one of those have happened. So it could be historical two times. We get a black person and a black woman all in the same sense.
Yeah, and so
I got 10 more minutes for you, Tracy. I'm sorry. I gotta roll out to the
nope,
next.
this is going to be actually the last question.
Okay.
Because I talked way more than I thought I was going to talk. Um,
If
how can people connect with you on social media?
Yeah, so we still have everything up under the campaigns platform, which is Tennessee for Everyone. So that's TN, the number 4, Every, which is on the screen, EVERY, the number 1. And you just put that into Google. You can comment. We have the website up. It's on all social media. That is Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. I believe those are our main 4 that we're on right now.
And Stanley, you can contact Constance, and she'll be glad to have a conversation with you.
Absolutely. And then, of course, the email is exactly the same thing. It is TennesseeForEveryone@gmail.com. We do have an official website email, but we will not activate that until the actual election year because we have to pay for that. And so, where you can save a few dollars, you'll save that for now. But the constant general email to the campaign or even directly to me is the TennesseeForEveryone@gmail.com. So that's how you find me. That's how you connect to me. And like I said, I'm open to all types of conversations and engagement as long as we keep it intellectual and respectfully debatable. Don't call me out of my name, and I sure won't call you out of yours. And it's that simple.
But if you do call her out of no. Yeah, okay, so Stanley says he's gonna contact you. So be looking for that.
I look forward to it. I'm excited. Can't wait. Looking forward to
So this conversation went all the way to the left, all the way to the right, and we ended up right back at the start. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I said, Constance, be on the lookout from that email from me around the end of December for your invitation. Now that I know who you're supporting, keep the power. But thank you all for watching this episode. This is my last interview of 2024. It's just me solo for the next 3 weeks. Next week, I'll probably talk about why the Democratic Party doesn't like black people. And then I don't know yet. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to do. I may change it. But tune in. Remember to subscribe to this channel. Support me on buymeacoffee.com/TRACYMedia LLC. And share this video. This is one of these ones I want you to share this. Constance had to, she went off and then came back on. But remember, share this one. Don't share the one from last week. Share this one. Share this video to all your platforms. We need to get our likes up and comment. If you watch this video tomorrow, comment. I promise I will respond. Thank you all. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.